Welcome back to Nate's SuperCoach for 2024. This is the round 4 review, or the Gather Round roundup. Uh, Thanks for joining me. So, 2,330 this round. Really pleased with that. Puts me in the top 4% for the round. Again, really pleased with that. And season rank of 2,335th, which puts me in the top 1%. Total score actually 8,503, ranked in the top 1%. So out of 172 odd thousand teams, sitting 2,335th. If you've been watching this channel and following along with all the moves I've made, you'd probably find yourself in a very similar position, which is very good feeling at the end of round 4. So now it becomes a case of holding on to that and making sure we don't do anything silly, make sure we make calculated trades to keep rising up. When others are, I think it's the old investing phrase, when others are greedy, be fearful, and when others are fearful, be greedy, or something like that. I don't know whether that actually applies, but anyway, we'll get on with it. Stop talking, Nathan, no worries. 11 out of 11 league wins, very happy with that. So a good week overall. Bombers didn't win, but yeah, what can you do? Okay, so here's how I went. Let's have a look at it on a forensic level. So I've still got 34 trades in the bank. Pretty happy with that. Only used 6 so far. Tom Stewart, 77. A little bit surprised at that score. I thought because of how close the game was that it would be a little bit more even towards Geelong, considering they won, and that Tommy Stewart would be able to pick up a few red time disposals and things like that. Obviously not to be. So 77, not panic stations, just a down game. Even though he didn't perform too badly, he wasn't injured or anything. But anyway, next round. Harry Sheasel, 124, just keeps getting it done. Really pleased that I started Sheasel. Dacos, 102. Now, not sure what's going on there at Magpie Land. As an Essendon supporter, I'm pleased that they just got over the line against Hawthorn, another one of the teams that I'm not very fond of from birth, but I digress. 102, not sure what's going on there. Don't know whether he's injured, don't know whether he's been played out of position, don't know whether other teams have worked out how to stop him. I don't know whether he's just not getting the ball as much. I really don't know. So, not panic stations yet. I mean, I picked up Dacos at the start of the year knowing he was going to be the top defender. At least I thought he was going to be the top defender. And if you watched my top 8 defenders video at the start of the season, I had Dacos as number 1. So I was very confident in that. I still am very confident that he'll do well. Just the scores aren't following him at the moment. So he's dropped a bit of value. He's down to 566,000. He probably will drop a bit more. He's on the bye this week, so we don't have to worry about that so much. But we do need to cover him on field as well. Hayden Young, 119. Very pleased with that. Held firm. I was very close to trading him out. Stuck firm with him, and he's repaid the faith with a couple of good scores now. And there's a few people that are actually trading Hayden Young back in, so burning the trades. So that just goes to show that sometimes you just got to back your gut in. Similar thing with Dacos. I've seen people sort of wanting to trade Dacos out, which makes no sense to me. But anyway, D'Ambrosio, 63. Didn't see much of the Collingwood-Hawthorn game, I must admit. Looked at the scores at quarter time and went, whoa, Massimo. Oh dear. But he sort of recovered to get a 63. His break-even's pretty high. I'm going to give him another week or two, and then he's going to get the flick. I'm going to upgrade him probably to Whitfield or a Luke Ryan, depending on how much money's in the bank. We'll come to that as we go. And Tom Brown, really pleased with him. So he was about 150,000. He was on the bubble, which for those of you that don't know, the bubble is basically he's one game away from exploding in price. The bubble's being inflated, and it's almost about to pop. And when it does, he gets a big price rise. So 95 score as well. Very pleased with that. Howe's 46, left him on the bench. Yeah, as it turned out, the best move. And Pink. A little bit disappointed that I picked up Toby Pink. I fell into that trap. So he's going to go as well. I've got no time. I'm not prepared this year to have sort of dead rookies just on the bench making no money for me. I don't really care about loops. I'm not really fussed about rookie loops at the moment. It's more getting the right rookies making money. And then, so I don't really want to have dual position players that aren't playing, and it just gets too messy, and you stuff your cash generation up, and all of a sudden you're around 13, 14 when every other side is almost at completion, and you're still 2 or 3 trades or upgrades to go because you haven't got enough money because you haven't had the rookies on the bench or the field making money for you. So Pink's got to go. Don't know whether it's going to be this week. Depends if he gets picked, of course. If he gets picked, Clarko could throw a spanner in my getting him out of my team works. If that's the case, I may have to keep him just for coverage, but we'll see. But he's on the chopping block in the next week or two, definitely. So Bontempelli, 141, can't complain with that. Petrarca, 140, again, just gets it done. I think Petrarca's going to take a big slice of Oliver's points this year. Oliver could still be a good upgrade target after his bye. I just think he's still a bit underdone. Interrupted pre-season with all the off-field issues that was going on. And he's come back in and he still seems like himself, but he's just not scoring like he can, sort of thing. So I think Petrarca is the one he's the play. Butters, 119. Again, Essendon were putrid on Friday night after half-time, or even after quarter-time, really. I didn't think he had that much of a good game, Butters. It wasn't like, whoa, there's Butters again, there's Butters again, there's Butters again. Gee, Butters everywhere. It wasn't sort of like that. It was more Rosie and Horne-Francis that did the damage for us, or for Port, rather, against us. So, again, 119, if that's the worst, we'll take that. Tuke Miller, 89, bit of a down game. I watched a bit of the game against the Giants. It seems to be a bit of magnets flying around at the Gold Coast. Now that Dimmer Hardwick's got his new toys, he's sort of playing with them and which toy works best in which position and how does that then affect the structure of things. So that's something to keep in mind as well with the Tuke train. I still think, if Gold Coast are in a position to make the 8, for example, then he's one to definitely have in your side because they're going to look for him. They need their leaders, the Andersons, the Rowells, the Tukes, and that sort of thing to guide that young group coming in. Roberts, not bad, 80. His break-even's quite high and he's on the bye this week, so he could be one. If I wanted to make a trade, it's probably a week or two early, if I'm being honest. But he's got 335,000 that can unlock a few trades for me. McKercher, 299. Again, a bit of a down game, but I think he's going to be probably more than likely DPP soon, so I'm going to keep him for that, just to swing him up. A bit of flexibility, getting some pretty good scores. 54 is not great, but for a rookie, you take it. Sanders, 82. The Colonel did a great job. Sharp, 126. Was not expecting that. Glad I had him on the field. And the other 3 is sort of rookie roulette, really. I could have, as it turns out, I could have gained 4 points or 15 by fielding Ware or Wilson. So it's like much of a muchness there. So I took Gawn's vice captain score of 129. I thought, yep, I'm taking that. I'm not mucking around. I'm not into this thing where a lot of people go, oh, well, he got 119, so 129. But I think someone else can go bigger, so I'm going to risk it. It's like, okay, cool, but I've been burnt too many times before by not taking a good vice captain score. So anything over 120, I take. That's just my sort of golden rule. I'd rather have it locked in a captain score early than waiting till Sunday afternoon or Saturday night and something happens, and then invariably you just don't know what's going to happen. So that's why I took Gawn's 129. I moved Vicentini on the field, put him as captain. He didn't play. He's out of AFL Ruckman, and put Grundy on the bench with the emergency. Grundy's on the bye this week. I'll talk about him in a minute. 93. Isaac Heaney, 165. Fantastic. Very, very, very pleased I started him. I remember in the pre-season, if you go back to some of my videos as well, I was like, why isn't anyone talking about Isaac Heaney? Especially in a year where we had no forwards. This guy seems to be very much a value pick at the moment. So why is no one talking about him? But anyway, I picked him and a lot of others did. So they obviously saw the same thing that I was seeing. So, and those that didn't start him are probably going, I should have started him, because he's made at least 150,000 at least already, and putting up scores of 165. So he's definitely going nowhere at the moment. Flanders, 125. Very pleased with that. Powell, 73. A bit disappointed, to be honest. Again, I mean, he's got 411,000. I brought him in at 350,000. It seemed like one of those. I trust that Clarko's not going to move the magnets too much, and he's going to play Powell in the right position as a midfielder, where he got heaps of points as a junior. He's not going to stuff around with any sort of setups, and then Powell will continue to score well. Fisher. All right, so what is he? 393 now. 75. Has he been a trap? Maybe. Have I fallen into that trap? I'll give him another week, but I think he's very much on the watch at the moment. If he's still putting up 65, 70, I think I've got to move him on, and that 393,000 could really open up a couple of upgrades. So if he's not cutting the mustard, then he's gone. Again, we got 40 trades this year, so we probably can do that. Bit of a late restructure, if you want to call it that. Dempsey with 80, really pleased with him. Cadman 50. So again, I missed 41 points by putting Reed on the bench, and Darcy's 34. So I could have been, 2,370. I don't know how much that would have put me up the rankings, but is what it is. I kind of put Reed on the bench because he had a bit of a down week last week, and there was talk that he was going to get managed minutes this year. I still think he will, so he's probably on the way out potentially in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Give him a bit more time. I think the 91's bought him a couple more weeks in my side, especially with the buys coming up as well. He's very handy, and Darcy 84. So I'm very pleased I picked up Darcy there. All right, so what can I do? What can I do this week? All right, so it is a best 18 week. So I am going to, at this stage, I'm just going to I'm going to set this up with everyone that's playing on the field, and we'll see how many I've got. We'll go where for Roberts, and I'll talk through some of the potential trades that I could make. So Grundy's on the bye, Heaney's on the bye, so Harley Reid comes on the field for Heaney. And I will probably go Cadman to Darcy, just for no reason other than Darcy scored more this week, and we'll go from there. Okay, so whenever we start to look at these midweek, best 18 rounds rather, in the midweek, I'm always looking at, okay, first question, do I have 18 players on the field? That's the first question I ask myself. 18 playing players, because that's best 18. You don't want to have 16 and 17 because then you're really in strife. So do I have 18? Okay, I've got 6 defenders that are playing, 8 midfielders, 1 ruck, and 6. Okay, so yes, I do. That's 21. Okay, 21. Okay, so 3 scores are basically going to drop out because it's best 18. So that do I need to make any trades? Probably not. I mean, I've only got Heaney, Grundy, Roberts, and Dacos that I need to sort of cover. Depends on team selection, of course. So as it sits right now, with 3 days, no hours, 44 minutes and 10 seconds to go until lockout, which is Thursday at 7:30 on the East Coast here in Melbourne, I would say I don't have to trade because I've got enough players. And I'm fairly confident in my primos. I'm fairly confident in my rookies as well. There's a couple, having said that, Howes, I'm not too keen on fielding him. But if I had to, and he was one of my lowest scores, that'll drop out, so it won't matter anyway. And same with the mids. I mean, Ware, Wilson, Clark. I probably wouldn't put Clark on. So Ware, if 69 is one of the lowest scores, I'm definitely laughing. And yeah, pretty pleased with where things sit. Looking forward though, we have a few things that I need to do. So the next thing becomes getting the rookies off the field. That's our next big strategic move of the season. So we're 4 rounds down. We've got to start looking at getting these rookies off the field. Okay, so, and then the DPP starts also at the end of next round, round 6. So there's going to be players that will be able to be moved from the midfield to the forward line to the midfield, mid to defence, defence to mid. Some will even be forward and defence, just depends on the player. Okay, so in terms of, you can almost do this like a what's called understanding by design if you're a school teacher, where you sort of reverse engineer things. So when my team is full primo, I will need to upgrade Ambrosio, Howes, and Brown. They'll need to be upgraded, or at least Howes and Brown, because I'll bring Dacos back in. So 2 upgrades in the defence till my team's full primo, 4 in the midfield. Gorn and Grundy are fine for the moment, and the forwards maybe 2, maybe Dempsey and Darcy, maybe throw Heaney back in. So don't have a lot of upgrades to do, which is a good position to be sitting 4 rounds down. So basically becomes, right, have you got the right rookies? Yes. So in this thing, do I have 18 playing? Absolutely I do. Fantastic. Okay, that's that question answered. Do I have all the right rookies? Yeah. I don't have to trade to some of them. There's a player from the Gold Coast. It's Closey? Clousey? Closey. Hope I pronounced that correctly. 102,000 defender. So he's probably the one I'll be looking at. He was very good on the weekend, scored 108 from memory. And Will Graham, 117,300. Also defence and mid. So that's going to be helpful. So there's two that I could trade to. I could trade to them. I don't have to. I'm in a pretty good spot, but I could if I wanted to. Long term though, who are my first upgrades going to be? I think money-wise, I'm looking at two people in the midfield. I'm looking at Nick Martin from the Bombers, and I'm also looking at Jack Steele from St Kilda. I think Steele at 560 odd thousand, I think he is, 580,000 maybe. I think, I'm not going to use the pun, but I think that is a very good price for what he can dish up. Seems he's back to his best again. A little bit underpriced compared to the other primo midfielders. I just don't think I'm going to get to a Tom Green at the moment. That's going to be after his buy upgrade, I think. I'm going to have to make up a bit of a war chest before we do that as well. So I'm not going to be able to get to a Green. I mean, I could, but it's going to throw a lot of other stuff out as well. Defence, I'm looking at Lachie Whitfield. And I'm also, but if Nick Martin gets DPP, I'll probably swing him up too. So it might only be one upgrade in defence. It might just be Lachie Whitfield and Martin, and then my defence is finished. And I can probably use D'Ambrosio or Howes to get him. Didn't have a great game on the weekend, but I still think he is one that GWS are going to try and get the ball in his hands to play that fast-moving style. What's his price at the moment? Whitfield, fellow Peninsula boy, 553. All right, cool. So again, underpriced, certainly compared to, say, Luke Ryan from Freo, who they don't have listed there. I have to put his first name in. Don't know why it does that, but anyway. Luke Ryan, there we go. 644. Yeah, so I mean, it's quite a big jump to go from Luke Ryan and Whitfield. Which one will score the most from this point on, from when I trade him in? Can't say. Flip a coin. Maybe Luke Ryan, but maybe Whitfield. Just don't know. So, let's look at Nick Martin. Now, as an Essendon supporter, here's my honest view of Nick Martin. I think he is a very good accumulator, and he's proven that now in a few weeks. 44 touches or 41 touches or whatever it was the other week against St Kilda. So he gets a lot of the ball. The ball, if Essendon continues on the current form, the ball is going to be in our back six often. He gets a lot of kickouts. He shares them, however, with Andy McGrath, with Redman. Ridley's out for another couple of weeks, at least. So that bodes well for Nick Martin's job security down back. My only concern with Nick Martin is his disposal effectiveness. He butchers the ball quite a lot, and that can result in lower scores. So high possessions, but low SuperCoach scores. So that's the risk you probably run with Nick Martin. I think the role is there for him in terms of him getting the football, but it's what he does with it. So that's my honest thing on Nick Martin. I may trade him in this week. We've got the Bulldogs, and I don't think that's going to be a very slingshot kind of game. I think that'll be quite a low-scoring, high-possession sort of game, and the ball's going to be in our back six quite often. So I can certainly see why people are getting Nick Martin, and I may bring him in as well. Yet to be seen. I'll have a bit of a think. Jack Steele, 589,000. Okay, so I think this is the week to get Steele. If you don't get him this week, he's projected to go up 31,000. So you're going to pay 610 for him. So if you want Jack Steele, I think this is the week to get him. I mean, Merritt's, 668,000. That's too expensive for me, for Merritt. So I'll be holding fire on Merritt. I think Steele, Whitfield, and Nick Martin are probably the three. I can't see any forward options springing up until the DPPs arrive, and then we'll reassess where things sit. At this stage, I think it'll be Gorn vice-captain. Not sure who I'm going to go with captain yet, but yeah, sitting in a pretty good spot. 34 trades, 4 boosts left. I'm in the luxurious position where I don't have to trade, but if I feel I want to, if I want to free up a bit of cash for a few upgrades in the next few weeks, that would be good. The other thing also I want to consider is not stalling upgrades. So you don't want to get to the stage where you do one upgrade 1 week and then you don't do an upgrade for another 2 and then you do another upgrade the week after, and you sort of want to be at a stage where this is where I'm kind of glad where I am at the moment. I've got the really good rookies that are just sitting there just making money, so I can start to go pop, 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 pop every week. Steele next week to Martin, to Whitfield the week after, to whoever it is. So you don't sort of stall that upgrade. That's very helpful as well. All right, so that was the round 4 review. A bit of information on that one, bit of a longer one than normal. Trust you enjoyed it. If you like the content, please hit like and subscribe. I want to try and get to 500 subscribers before the season finishes, which would be awesome. And if you've been following along with all the moves I've been making and doing them yourself, then you'll find yourself in a pretty good position. So stick with me. Let's see how we go in the next couple of days. I'll have a bit of a think about what I want to do, and I'll pop a video up just before the lockout on Thursday, no doubt. So you'll see what sort of moves I'm thinking of doing. Thanks very much for watching. Talk soon.